Hi everybody, welcome to my channel True Gist. I go through a lot of the new channels from around the world and bring you the latest and breaking news out there. So please feel free to comment any way you like and we can discuss in the comment section. I'd like to know your thoughts, and please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button for more content like this in the future. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
If I was to guess, this virus started transmitting somewhere in September, October in Wuhan.
September, October.
That's my own view. It's an only opinion. I'm allowed to have opinions. Now, I am of the point of view that I still think the most likely etiology of this pathogen in Wuhan was from a laboratory, escaped. Other people don't believe that. That's fine. Science will eventually figure it out. It's not unusual for respiratory pathogens that are being worked on in a laboratory to infect a laboratory worker.
It is also not unusual for that type of research to be occurring in Wuhan. The city is a widely known center for viral studies in China, including the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which has experimented extensively with bat coronaviruses. It is a remarkable conversation I feel like we're having here, because you are the former CDC director and you were the director at the time this was all happening. For the first time, the former CDC director is stating publicly that he believes this pandemic started months earlier than we knew, and that it originated not at a wet market, but inside a lab in China. These are two significant things to say, Dr. Redfield.
And that's not implying any intentionality. It's my opinion, right? But I am a virologist. I have spent my life in virology. I do not believe this somehow came from a bat to a human, and at that moment in time, the virus that came to the human became one of the most infectious viruses that we know in humanity for human-to-human transmission. Normally when a pathogen goes from a zoonotic to human, it takes a while for it to figure out how to become more and more efficient in human-to-human transmission. I just don't think this makes biological sense.
So in the lab, do you think that process of becoming more efficient was happening? Is that what you were suggesting?
Yeah, let's just say I have coronavirus that I'm working on. Most of us in the lab, we're trying to grow a virus. We try to help make it grow better and better and better and better and better and better so we can do experiments and figure out about it. That's the way I put it together.
Discussions with you. Tell us the significance of hearing Dr. Redfield, former director, say that's what he thinks it came from a lab.
My initial reaction, Allison, is wow, stunning, groundbreaking, really narrative-changing conversation that Sanjay Gupta had with Robert Redfield for a couple of really important reasons. One is, as you mentioned, he is not any Joe Schmo scientist. He was the head of the CDC, a lifelong virologist, in a position to know all this information. And he's making two very shocking allegations. One is that the virus started in September or October, according to his opinion, which implies that the Chinese government hid it for several months. And two, that he believes, not just based on supposition, but based on the way that the virus emerged and his professional analysis of the way it acted, that it was too strong and too advanced to have come from nature. And he's referring to the gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Now, that matches the information that came out of the Trump administration and was confirmed by the Biden administration to some degree when they came in and checked the U.S. intelligence work. So it's not just Robert Redfield's opinion. There's a growing body of evidence that points to this lab accident theory. And while we don't know what happened, we can't say we know what happened. What this does is it makes it very, very important that there's more investigation and that we regard the ongoing investigation, frankly, by the WHO and the Chinese scientists as not the end of the inquiry here, because, as you noted, they're poo-pooing this theory already.
Again, Redfield says it's just his opinion, but he's not just any guy or any Joe Schmo, as you said.
Okay, so that's concerning. Folks, I think we need to know how this pandemic really started. It's very important that we know how this pandemic started, because what's coming out from the news from 2020 is not matching what they're saying now. And people are genuinely concerned. We need to know. So I'm gonna be news, please like, share, subscribe. I want to know your opinion in the comment section. Let's see what Joe Biden has to say.
With China, now that you've been in office for a couple months, there's obviously the meeting in Alaska that was a little theatrical, and there's the continued human rights abuses. So today, I'm wondering, are you more likely than you were when you came into office to maintain tariffs on China? Are you considering banning imports of forced labor products? And would you consider cutting off U.S. investment or Chinese access to international payment systems?
Well, look, they're each specifically legitimate questions, but they only touch a smidgen of what the relationship with China really is about. I've known Xi Jinping for a long time. Allegedly, by the time I left office as vice president, I had spent more time with Xi Jinping than any world leader had, because President Obama and the Chinese President Hu decided we should get to know one another, since it was inappropriate for the President of the United States to spend time with the Vice President of another country. But it was obvious he was going to become the new leader of China. So I spent hours upon hours with him alone with an interpreter, my interpreter and his, going into great detail. It's very, very straightforward. Doesn't have a Democratic with a small d bone in his body, but he's a smart guy. He's one of the guys like Putin who thinks that autocracy is the wave of the future. Democracy can't function in an ever complex world. So when I was elected and he called to congratulate me, I think to the surprise of the China experts who were his people on the call as well as mine listening, we had a 2-hour conversation for 2 hours. And we made several things clear to one another. I made it clear to him again, what I've told him in person on several occasions, that we're not looking for confrontation, although we know there will be steep competition. 2, that we'll have strong competition, but we'll insist that China play by the international rules. Fair competition, fair practices, fair trade. Thirdly, in order to compete effectively, I indicated that we're going to deal with China effectively. And we're going to need 3 things to do that. I'm telling our people. First, we're going to invest in American workers and American science